I'm Tim Bradner. Welcome to Capital Views. We're here with Chris Rose, the director of the Renewable Energy Alaska Project. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Tim.
Chris, you are active in being one of the chief advocates of renewable energy in Alaska. And when one thinks of renewable energy, one thinks also of it's advocated as one of the solutions for climate change. Alaska is considered to be ground zero for climate change with the adverse effects here. Your thoughts, the national debate, effects on Alaska, are we doing the right things?
Well, you're absolutely right that lower carbon fuels, whether it's renewables or even just using less fossil fuel through efficiency, is definitely one of the ways that we can lower our carbon footprint. It's definitely the consensus of 97% of the scientists that humans are causing climate change now, and so we have an impact and we have some responsibility to do something, and one of the things we can do is lower the amount of carbon that we're emitting. So renewables clearly is a driver worldwide for a solution to climate change. Other countries and other states have set mandatory goals for renewable energy so that at some point in the future they can wean themselves more and more off carbon. There's definitely a lot of impacts here in the state of Alaska that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, we know that. Our country has yet to set goals or mandatory goals on less carbon footprint. How are we doing anyway? I mean, you hear a lot about the economy already moving toward less carbon content of the economy. Are we getting there despite what happens in Washington?
I think so. There is, you're right, no federal policy to speak of, but the states have been the leaders and the states have been the laboratories. 29 states plus the District of Columbia and several territories all already have mandates for renewable energy. Hawaii just recently passed a 100% goal, not just a goal, but a mandate by 2045. So they're definitely out there leading the way. But those states, particularly states with a large population like California and Texas, have really led the way in developing renewables. And of course, as more people use them, more of these devices are produced and we get a better economy of scale and the price just keeps going down and down. We're at a point now where both solar, grid-tied solar and grid-tied wind, particularly in the lower 48, are already competitive with even natural gas. So whether or not we have a federal policy, the economics for renewables are so good now that they're going to continue to be a major player in the energy sector.
I mean, Alaska is already 30% renewable.
Close to 30%. A lot of that is hydro, but there's been a significant amount of non-hydro constructed in the state over the last several years through the Renewable Energy Fund and other ways.
Some states are better than we are, though.
Oh, absolutely. The state of Iowa, where I grew up, when I left Iowa 30 years ago, had no wind per se, and now they're almost 40% just wind electricity in Iowa. They're now the world leaders. So there's a lot of places in the Midwest that have excellent wind and have policies that have been driving that, and that's actually also been inviting investment. So big wind turbine companies are moving into the Midwest in places like Colorado because they can build those very large machines right there and not have to ship them so far.
We are moving more and more toward a decarbonized economy. Can we get there anyway on a national level with this move that our economy is already making and other states are living? Do we really need Washington to do things?
I think that we are definitely moving toward more renewable energy and energy efficiency. First of all, who wouldn't want a better bottom line? Energy efficiency just means that you're saving money by not wasting energy. So everybody's for that. As far as renewable energy, I think the only concern is maybe we're not moving fast enough. There's definitely a huge concern about climate around the world. That's why some countries have already said that they want to go to 100% renewable. Countries like Germany have long-term targets to do that. Then there are places like Iceland and Norway who are already really close to 100% renewable electricity. So there are a lot of places around the world that are further ahead, and mostly that's driven by policy.
What can we do in the transportation sector?
Well, you see electric cars coming out now. The Chevy Bolt is a car that has over a 200-mile range. which was like the original Teslas, but at about the third of the price. You can get a Chevy Bolt now for about $30,000, and that's a fantastic deal relative to where electric cars were even a few years ago. Of course, the infrastructure has to be built up around that, but that's already happening in places in the lower 48 particularly. But that allows for renewable energy like wind and solar to actually be powering our transportation system to a larger degree.
What's also interesting, a part of that is the new electric cars are pushing battery technology. So that relates to our own Alaska renewable, because we have a problem storing energy. So does one thing lead to the other?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the battery technology that companies like Tesla have been developing and optimizing and making cheaper will definitely help small remote grids capture more of the wind and solar that they might want to produce and continue to displace the amount of diesel that they're using over time.
You know, thinking of solar momentarily, I recently learned that solar is attracting interest even in Arctic Alaska, Northwest Alaska,
That's right.
because of the snow.
That's right. Well, every place on the planet gets the exact same amount of sunlight. It's just in different proportions. You know, the equator gets 12 hours a day every single day of the year, and of course we get a large percentage of our sunlight in a very more condensed time. So until the price of solar has dropped so much recently, people didn't think that they could really get a return on investment by only having solar out there 6 or 7 months a year. Now that's completely changing because solar is getting so much cheaper that even above the Arctic Circle, people are capturing enough electricity to make it worth their while to do it.
And the season starts earlier because they can get that, it's called the snow bounce.
That's right. The reflection off the snow actually makes March and April the peak of solar gain or solar production in Alaska.
That's interesting. Well, Chris, thanks for joining us. It's been interesting, and my name is Tim Bradner. Thanks for joining us on Capital News.